After a 7-week murder trial, 15 hours of deliberations is kind of nothing. Unless the person on trial for a second time is Karen Read, in which case I start to get a feeling in the pit of my stomach. The jury in today's Read's do-over trial let the whole world know that they're struggling. They're apparently struggling with the same issues that led Karen Read's first jury to be deadlocked. In their second full day of deliberating, they sent the judge 4 separate questions pertaining to all 3 of the charges that Read is facing. And those are second-degree murder, vehicular manslaughter while operating under the influence, and leaving the scene of an accident resulting in death. The jurors weren't clear about the time frame for the operating under the influence part. More specifically, they didn't know whether prosecutors say Read was drunk when she allegedly left the victim at the house on Fairview Road, or if it was later at 5 a.m. when she went back out looking for him. The response from Judge Beverly Cannoni was, "You figure it out. It's not in the indictment, so I can't tell you what time." Ugh, bummer. Their second question, whether video clips from Karen Read's numerous media interviews could be considered evidence, and the judge was a lot more helpful there. She said yes, those interviews could be considered evidence. Question 3 had to do with convicting on lesser charges, which prompted the judge to tweak the verdict form. And that's fine, but then came question 4. And this one was like gasp, right? Because this was a question about whether the panel would be considered deadlocked if they acquitted Read on 2 charges but couldn't agree on a 3rd. That's what happened last time. Judge Cannoni called that question, quote, theoretical, and Judge Cannoni refused to answer that question for the jurors. But inside her head, I'm sure, bottle caps were just blowing off, because that's exactly, like I said, what happened with that jury at Karen Read's first trial. And my next guest knows the confusion well that the jurors are facing, because he was one of the first jurors. Ronald Estanislao, welcome back to the program. Good to have you, especially on a day like today. So what's your gut telling you when you heard about the questions the jury was asking?
I feel like they're having the same exact situation that we had last year.
I get a pit in my stomach when I hear that, because, it's expensive. It takes a lot of people, a lot of time. It takes people like you and these new jurors and your fellow jurors out of their lives for weeks upon weeks on end. And no result, like a real waste of time. Would this be something that would make you angry and frustrated?
It's very frustrating for a couple of reasons, but hopefully it will make a difference this time around. And one of the biggest problems that we had last time is we did not know to actually submit the verdicts for the first charge and the last charge. So as long as those are submitted, then the mistrial or the hung jury would be only on 1 count as opposed to all counts. And that may make a difference. But again, we didn't do that in the last one, which was the major problem. This time around, if they submit that, I can understand that. And I think it's also would be clearer now that that second charge has different factors or different types of levels. Unfortunately, that is where we got locked in last time again, where not everybody could agree on one particular charge.
So was it more a case where there was a division over the guilt or innocence, or was it more a division over, I don't understand the jury form, and somebody on the panel thought one way and someone else on the panel thought another way about the instructions themselves, and you just couldn't come up with an answer? Because that's what it feels like with this jury. Was that the same for you?
It's actually, in this case, it seems like they're asking more of the appropriate questions to kind of fill in the blanks, et cetera. But that was exactly our problem before, but we didn't ask the questions. So now it seems like they're willing to fill out the forms accordingly and follow the instructions accordingly. The other problem is just the charge itself. It's hard. We were deliberating a lot on which charge is appropriate in terms of the levels, because that second charge of involuntary manslaughter actually has a different layers, and that's where we were stuck on, and we could not agree on one particular charge.
You know, it must be frustrating for you watching this, knowing everything they're going through, having gone through it. But it's even more frustrating for people who don't know the system the way Judge Cannoni knows the system, to hear that she won't answer the questions. It's not that she's mean. It's not that she doesn't care about the jury. It's that she's limited in what she's allowed to say. Is it frustrating for you because you know what needs to be said and what she cannot tell them?
Yeah, it's very frustrating because now we're stuck in the same situation as we were before. But like I said, I think what is better now is there are better instructions with regards to making sure that the separate charges are signed and not guilties are made for the two charges of the second-degree murder and leaving the scene of an accident, and that is signed by the foreman, which would alleviate some of the issue that we had last year where we didn't sign anything at all. No forms were signed, so that didn't go on the books as not guilty for second-degree murder and leaving a scene of an accident.
Right, because then there'd just be one charge left. I only have a few seconds left, but I just want to ask you this question. Ronald, did you like Karen Reid, or did you have no opinion of her in the courtroom?
I remained indifferent.
It's interesting. Ronald Estanislao, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. Maybe we'll talk again as soon as we hear what this jury is going to do.
No worries. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.